Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a subject that, let's be honest, can seem a little intimidating. But trust me, it's actually a superpower in disguise, no matter what your profession is. We're talking about accounting, so let's get right into it.
So let me tell you about Jennifer. She's been a social worker for over 2 decades. And way back at the start of her career, an advisor told her, hey, you should really take an accounting course. She was reluctant, to say the least. She thought, what does that have to do with my work? But fast forward a few years, now she's a director, juggling budgets, presenting to boards, and suddenly she realized that was probably the most valuable piece of advice she ever got. Jennifer's story really hits on a powerful truth, Accounting isn't just some boring back office chore. Not at all. It's the language of decisions. And it's a language that's spoken in every single field, from social work like Jennifer's all the way to Silicon Valley. Okay, so for just a second, forget all the stereotypes about complex math. I want you to think of accounting as financial storytelling. That's really all it is. It takes all the numbers and organizes them to tell a clear story. A story that helps everyone, from a CEO to a social worker, make smarter, more informed choices.
And what's so cool is that this financial language is incredibly versatile. I mean, the same principles a global company uses to weigh $1 billion investment, you can use those exact same ideas to help you decide whether to lease or buy a new car. It's all about understanding value and making the best possible trade-off.
And just like any language, accounting has a couple of different dialects, each one made for a specific audience. You've got financial accounting, which speaks to the outsiders, the people looking in on the company. Then there's managerial accounting. That's the internal dialect, the one people inside the company use to actually run the place. So who exactly is listening to this financial language? What kinds of questions are they trying to answer? Let's break down the key audiences.
First up, you've got investors. You probably know them as stockholders. These are the people who actually own a piece of the company. So yeah, they've got their own money on the line.
This is their number one question. They dive into public financial reports, like the income statement, to basically give the company a health check. Is it profitable? Does it have potential for growth? Those numbers are what help them decide whether to buy, sell, or hold on to their shares.
Then you have lenders. Think about banks or other institutions that loan money to businesses for everything from building a new factory to just covering daily operations.
Before they hand over any cash, you better believe lenders are poring over a company's financial history. They're assessing risk. They need to be totally confident that the business is stable and that it's going to generate enough cash to make its payments.
And then, of course, we have the insiders, the managers and employees who are making decisions every single day to steer the ship. And this is exactly where that second dialect, managerial accounting, comes in. Managers use real-time financial data and even non-financial data to make strategic calls. Questions like, are our production costs too high? Or should we repair this machine or just replace it? Is our new marketing campaign actually working? That internal language guides all those critical choices. Okay, now it's time to bust the biggest myth about accounting. That it only leads to one type of, boring job. The reality is way more dynamic and exciting than you might think. Auditors are basically financial detectives. Their job is to examine a company's books to make sure the reports are accurate and that strong internal controls are in place to protect assets and prevent mistakes. It's really all about ensuring trust and reliability in the financial system. And a tax professional, they are so much more than just a form filler. They're strategic advisors. They help businesses and individuals navigate all those complex tax laws so they can plan for the future, make smart financial moves, and legally minimize what they owe. Now, this is where accounting meets criminal investigation. Forensic accountants are basically fraud hunters who follow the money trail to uncover crime. And here's a fun fact. It wasn't the FBI's guns that finally put gangster Al Capone behind bars. Nope. It was an accountant's ledger that got him for tax evasion. How about that? Because accountants have this really unique bird's-eye view of an entire business, they're perfectly positioned to act as consultants. They can guide companies on everything from installing new software systems to making their entire production process more efficient. And for any entrepreneur out there, this language isn't just helpful, it is absolutely critical. Understanding your cash flow, your costs, and your profitability, that is the foundation for building a successful company that actually lasts. So, after seeing all of these possibilities, what does this actually mean for you? Let's bring it home and focus on why this matters no matter what your career path is. This brings us right back to where we started with Jennifer, the social worker. She discovered a key truth. Anyone with responsibility, whether you're a marketing manager or a nonprofit director, is so much more empowered when they can read the financial story of their organization. So here's the big takeaway. Accounting is a language for making decisions. It speaks to both insiders and outsiders. It unlocks all these diverse and dynamic career paths. And most importantly, it's a skill that empowers everyone. It's a practical superpower that helps you understand how organizations and, frankly, how much of the world really work. So the next time you look at a company's report or a budget at work or even just your own personal finances, ask yourself this question. Because learning to read that story doesn't just make you a better professional, it gives you a clearer, much more complete picture of the world.